anybody out there has had their basement flood, as I did 3 years ago, I had the water rise in my lower level, it's a split level, rise 8 inches, and a half hour later it dropped down. That was $30,000 worth of damage.
Oh,
wait a minute.
wait a minute. Was this a recurring thing? Did it happen a lot,
or was it a storm sewer problem?
A one-time thing?
Yeah, storm sewer problem. The sewers, the storm sewers backed up. It was not even sewage water, and they backed up. And I had through a basement exit. Water come in overland. It backed up from my neighbor's lot and came in my back door. That was a lower level basement entrance.
So it came from the land outside and not a backup.
Yeah, and it was both. It was both. The point is that within 30 minutes, I had $30,000 worth of damage. Now
Did you have that in your pro forma?
No, I did not. And here's the thing: you would never identify that situation if you walked up to that house, and I had insurance and things like that. Now, but going back to the moisture problem, you're looking for roof issues, you're looking for drainage issues, you're definitely looking for interior moisture issues that could grow mold. Okay. Very, very important. And a lot of times, now I just bought, as you know, my son is in Afghanistan. He's returning, and there was a house that was perfect for him that we went in because he was out of town. I had to buy it for him. And I thought, I haven't even told you this, I thought that the property had major water issues. The basement was flooding. When I went and saw the property, there was an inch of water in the low spots. In the high spots, it was just wet.
Yeah.
I bought the property. I was comfortable with my worst case scenario, which was $10,000 to dig out and put in drain tile. Okay. Now, what I found out was the sump pump had not been replaced. It was burned out.
Oh.
There was high, but when I looked in the sump pump, though it was not overflowing. The water, the hydraulic pressure in that area, water under the ground, was high, and the sump pump was not relieving it every couple of hours. So that pressure was forcing water through the hairline cracks. All we did was replace that sump pump, and the basement dried out almost completely. Almost completely. So the other thing about that is it's a great basement, but it has very little sunlight, and so we're going to put in a few escape windows. Now, again, that's a little bit more involved, but you could do it. YouTube is a great vehicle to learn how to do things like that.
But that's how you could really add value, because then you could have a living space in a bedroom down there. Adding sunlight, but they had to have the escape, the window where you dig out
to meet code.
Right. But then you got more value in the house because somebody could live in the basement or have a bedroom.
Absolutely. Now, in a lot of cases, there would be code against renting out that basement, right?
Why? Because you're in a fancy neighborhood?
So just work with me a little bit. It could be somehow in the code that you cannot rent out an upper, the main floor of a house, and rent out the basement. That would be like 2 separate living units. Right? You can accept that. You've heard of that.
It's not a 2-flat, right?
It's not a 2.
What they call those? What do they call those? In-laws or something?
In-laws and accessory units, and they have all kinds of terms for it. But a lot of municipalities try to control that. Where they cannot succeed whatsoever is they cannot stop an owner from living in his own basement.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
So the question is, have you ever heard of a municipality or an ordinance where it said the owner cannot live in the basement and have the main floor rented out?
You know what? I don't think I've ever even heard of anything like that.
Not at all. Because we don't want to get into property rights. beyond common sense zoning. So no one's going to say
right.
you can't live in your own home. That'd be essentially what they're saying.
Right.
So that's actually a great opportunity. I think we're getting a little bit off track though.
A little bit,
But anyway, it all goes back to the value. And if you've got moisture issues, do you know that on the subject of basements and basements flooding and cracks in the basement things, probably 70% of basement leakage could be solved by regrading the lot, meaning
the grass,
getting the water to flow better.
Okay.
And
away from the house.
Away from the house.
Okay.
And moving and taking gutters and downspouts and extending them past the house.
I did that over here. I did that here.
And you extend them past the house.
Okay.
You can solve the problem without almost any money whatsoever.
Okay.
And people don't realize that. And the waterproofing companies aren't going to tell you that.
Right.
They're not going to tell you that. They're going to come in and they're going to dig up the foundation and they're break out concrete and they're going to fix it.
Okay.
But there's a lot simpler fix. And so these things are important, and they all go back to what the public wants. Do they want clean, dry, sunlit real estate?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't think that there's any demographic of our population that doesn't want clean, dry, and sunlit.
Absolutely.
So you've got that. Look for the location and look for the square footage that fits the location.
Fantastic. Okay.
And within that group, there are going to be opportunities. And as you get better, you'll figure out where the outliers are and if you should pay more or less for those outliers.
And that's where the value in the buy right.
And that's where the value
All
is.
right. I want to before we get off, I want to ask two loaded questions.
Okay.
I've heard the term mold is gold. What does that mean?
Well, that is a preloaded question. Okay. Mold is gold. Our generation, and we're in the older generation, yours is before mine. We lived with mold. We lived with respect coming this way. That's right. We lived with mold all of our lives, right? I think every decade they come up with a new, we got to be afraid of this.
Yes. And
mold was the 80s or the 90s? No, the 90s was radon. The 80s was mold. Or maybe I'm even getting those mixed up. But anyway, at a certain point, mold became toxic, and definitely some strains of it are. But most mold can be rectified. Most mold situations, the first thing you have to do is go to the source, stop the moisture from coming in, accumulating, gathering. After that, depending on the veracity and the length of time the mold has been present, you can mitigate it yourself.
Okay.
I don't want to get into when you can't mitigate it, when you can.
That'll be another.
But it can be fixed. The biggest thing is the penalty against the property when the mold is present is great.
Right.
What does that mean? Opportunity
to clean it, fix it.
Well, opportunity to get it at a very deeply discounted.
On your buy. Okay, good.
That's right.
Good.
And it's an unknown. I always say, here's a good analogy. When you buy a home, do you expect to get a good roof?
You better
a roof that doesn't leak.
Yes, you expect it, but that's the thing.
Now we're not an investor. Now we're just a buyer.
All right.
When we're buying a home, we expect to have a home that with a roof that doesn't leak. Correct.
Okay.
If I'm selling the home, what's the chances that I'm going to get more for my house because my roof doesn't leak? Pay more for my house because my roof doesn't leak. Well, wait a minute.
It's a given, though.
It's a given. Now, how about I rephrase the question? My roof does leak, but it's only going to cost you $10,000 to fix it. You can see that the roof is absolutely at the end of its useful life. Are you only going to discount the price by $10,000?
No, you go for way more than that.
Why though?
Because
I have a bid right here. It's only $10,000.
If I'm one of 10 people looking at it, maybe only 1 out of 10, they don't want that problem getting in there. Plus, they can't define what it is, right?
Well,
what you're saying is 10 could be 30.
That's right. How many people out there have anticipated an expense and planned for it and budgeted for it, and then the expense was greater than they anticipated?
Right.
So what you're going to do as a buyer investor is you're going to deeply discount that property because of the unknown.
Okay.
Mold is an unknown. The cost is pretty easy to identify that the roof is at the end of its useful life, but it's a huge unknown as to how much it's going to cost and if there's hidden damage.
Okay.
So all of those things are opportunities.
Okay.
All of them. So you had 2 questions.
Another question. I had a very, very, very good friend of mine. His name's Chuck Kendall. He passed away about a year ago. And he was probably 20 years older than me. And a guy he did over $1 billion of financing in his lifetime. That's all he's ever done was real estate. But he was the president, I don't know if this was in the 50s or 60s or what, a long time ago, of National Homes, which was one of the biggest home developers in the United States. And he was a good friend of mine. We talked, we've done real estate together. Just a really, 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 really good guy. And he said, Joey, I've built thousands and thousands and thousands of homes. And I'll tell you, right now, if I was in charge of a building company, I wouldn't put any basements in. You get more problems from basements than anything else. Can you address that? That is loaded.
If we were in Arizona, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
If we were in Arizona, that'd be fine. In the Chicagoland area where we're from, basements are in demand still. But there is a segment that are building on slab and crawl spaces and things.
Okay.
It's a cost.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm not sure when we're buying, we're not buying new construction. As investors and wholesaling property, so it is what it is. Do properties that have a basement go for more? Absolutely.
Okay.
So I would look at the market as to whether or not it was advisable if I were building to.
Okay. But Arizona's, I'm assuming it's dry over there too.
Well, do
they have flash?
It has most to do with the ground, the terrain. I mean, it's hard as rock. Just huge cost to dig in and things like that. So.
All right. Well, Dale, listen, thank you. Hey, if you got some value out of this, which I really hope you did, because you are getting 3.5 decades of experience in the last 20 minutes over here, okay? Hey, like us, share us, and subscribe, and stay tuned. We're going to have Dale on a few more times on a couple other topics. Thank you very much. This is JoeyB.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Hey, my friend. Hey, thank you for watching Real Estate Investing Mantra. If you liked it, like it, share it, and subscribe. We've got a lot more stuff coming down the pike. Thank you.